To begin, we first want to select a model local school wellness policy to use as a comparison. Now, the goal of component number 1 is to identify areas of strength, opportunities for improvement, and to identify where we can adopt language to make our wellness policy stronger. This is a useful exercise for school wellness committees to complete together, if possible. And while there are many existing comparison tools, the California Local School Wellness Policy Collaborative recommends 3 models to select from. The WellSat 3.0 is a quantitative assessment tool to help you score and improve your wellness policy. The scoring system sets goals for strengthening language and does not include language on the WISC model. Here is an example of the scorecard. After your wellness committee has collectively completed the card, a comprehensiveness and strength score is then calculated. So the comprehensiveness score reflects the extent of recommended content areas that are covered in the policy, and a strength score describes how strongly the content is stated. The California School Boards Association Board Policy 5030 meets the minimum requirement for the final rule. And here's an example of what the CSBA tool looks like. Now, this allows you to compare the model policy language with your district's policy language side by side. It's a very straightforward tool, but it does not show opportunities for language strengthening. And lastly, we have the model local school wellness policy created by Alliance for a Healthier Generation. This model includes the WISC model language focusing on additional areas that all districts should include in their policies, right? So we talked about those desired components such as social emotional learning, health services, employee wellness, family engagement and community involvement, physical environment and counseling, psychological and social services. This tool does not include state-specific requirements, but it does clearly note that you should check with your state agency to ensure that the required state-specific language is included in your wellness policy. Now, since we're based in California, we want to share the policy for snack and beverages comparison with the USDA standards, which will be available in the resource document for this session. And as Kat mentioned earlier, California does have higher standards than the federal requirements in many practices. So the document provides a side-by-side comparison of policy applications and exemptions, food and beverages, fundraisers and celebrations, and marketing. You can also find specific nutrient guidelines for calories, sugar, sodium, and fats. The California Recess Rule is a state-specific policy. This is another slightly nuanced area for California, but this outlines allowances and prohibitions for the duration and location of recess, as well as clearly defining that recess and physical education are separate. Now, this is a board policy, but it could be included in your local school wellness policy as it relates to and supports physical activity. And as a reminder, physical activity goals are a requirement of your local school wellness policy. And we want to note here that this is also a prime example of how there will be natural overlaps in some areas. And if you're still not sure what the real differences between physical education or recess are, here's a flyer from Shape America, which will also be included in the resource document.